Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another session with your humble servant, Mr. Smith. Hopefully always humble, but of course humility is something that is hard to do all the time, but we must strive for being constantly humble. And anyway, today we're going to look at Scarface. And we're going to talk a little bit about the programming and the timing that the Scarface movie, when it came out in 1983. And of course, it glorified the cocaine business. And, Al Pacino is a great actor. He's not just good, he's great. Very entertaining guy. We'll get back to him in a minute. So what was going on in the early 1980s, late 1970s, right? Again, the Tavistock Institute, these social engineering think tanks like the Frankfurt School and the Tavistock Institute, and all these psychological and medical schools at these highfalutin colleges, they all do social engineering experiments. So they created the counterculture of the 60s, the hippie culture, and they got everybody into free love and drugs, and they got people to just follow their base impulses and their base emotions, right? Trying to eliminate higher level thinking in people. Now, then come the late 1970s, early 80s. And this is what the book, The Tavistock Institute, Social Engineering the Masses by Daniel Estulin, has a quote here about the late 1970s, early 1980s. It says, quote, "Thus softened up, the United States was now deemed ripe for the introduction of drugs, especially cocaine, crack cocaine, heroin, to rival the Prohibition era in scope and the huge amounts of money to be made. This too was an integral part of the Aquarian conspiracy." All right, so you have to look up that Aquarian conspiracy. It was a book that came out in 1980 about counterculture ideologies. I'm not going to get too into that, but based on what I've read in this book and research and that I've been doing for many, many years, there is no doubt that the movie Scarface was made and put into the public's psyche in 1983. Its job was to make cocaine something that everybody talked about, made it exciting, made it dangerous, made it taboo. And of course, young people, they want to get edgy. They want to push it to the limit. Remember that song in Scarface? Take it to the limit, limit. Right? Yeah, you want to push it, push your limits, right? We all do. Hey, I've been there. I had my ski runs, if you know what I mean, back in the day. Thank the Most High, I came to my senses. Because that stuff is whack. Anywho, but Al Pacino, great acting job. Let's take a look at the clip I'm going to show you in Scarface, and to show you how they are engineering reality and getting people to believe and want to be in a certain reality. Like I said in a previous video, they did studies when they made television, and of course this includes movies and radio and stuff like that. They create a reality in TV and movies, and then people go out and want to change their reality to the one that they see on TV. And the movie Scarface is a perfect example of that. I mean, we all went out after seeing that movie and wanted to do coke, wanted to be cocaine dealers. We were all going, "Hey, man," talking like that. "You got this yayo, man?" Right? We all wanted to be like Tony Montana, man. and you knew guys that got into the business of dealing illicit drugs, and it's not nearly as exciting as the movie portrays it to be. Anyway, let's take a look at this clip and then we'll talk afterwards.
This country, you gotta make the money first. Then when you get the money, you get the power. Then when you get the power, then you get the woman. That's why you gotta make your own moves.
And that's why you gotta make your own moves. Oh, he's so cool, isn't he? Right? So, everybody that watched this movie, especially when it first came out, we all wanted to be like Tony Montana, man. We all started talking like this, man. And what this movie did was it brought to the forefront cocaine. Yayo, man. And it made it glamorous, exciting, edgy, you know, and young people always think that it's not going to happen to them, right? At the end, of course, of the movie, Tony Montana completely implodes. He's miserable. His wife, his sister, his best friend. I mean, the movie is showing you the tragedy of being too greedy, trying to be too powerful, and, you know, and Tony gets taken out. But young people always think it's not going to happen to them. He says, first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the woman. So how many young people especially, after this movie came out, adopted that absolute mentality right there? First you get the money, then you get the power, and then you get the woman, right? Women also were affected by it. They look for guys that are powerful. Maybe women shouldn't look for guys that are so powerful. Maybe they should just look for a hardworking man that can provide for them. I mean, there is some truth to what Tony's saying in this clip. A man should work on his, whatever he does, his trades, his career, whatever, accumulate a certain amount of financial stability so that he can be a provider for a wife and a family. But of course, that's not what Tony's talking about. Tony in this clip is talking about going well above and beyond and not caring about people, not caring about who gets in his way. Got to make your own moves, man. Screw society, screw my family and my neighborhood. You know, and I've known some women who have married guys like Tony Montana, and they're miserable because they realize the guy's a complete sociopath, maybe even psychopath. I guess a psychopath is just a physically violent sociopath. Semantics, right? But people to this day still do the Tony Montana character. And it's a total credit to Al Pacino's performance. I mean, it was amazing. You know, Al Pacino in 1997 did a movie called The Devil's Advocate, where he played Lucifer. If you haven't seen that movie and you want to see how it really works, you know, you should really get into that movie. It's deep. All right? And movies do tell you, you know, not so much in television, but TV shows, but movies do drop truth. Right? But they are clearly trying to socially engineer you, right? So they make this whole cocaine thing look cool and exciting. And if you've ever talked to somebody that dealt or provided this white powder, it's not as nearly as cool and exciting as you think. It's not glamorous. So, but everybody thought it was. Right? So this is just another example of how they're creating a reality that people want to create in the real world. And, people are failing miserably. You have people who are in so much debt just to give the illusion that they have tons of money and power so that they can get the beautiful woman. And then when they get the beautiful woman, she expects him to fulfill his promise that he's really wealthy and powerful, and when he's not that wealthy and powerful, it becomes a complete poop show. And we have to get our heads out of these movies and TV shows and into reality and be happy with just being able to live healthy and have hobbies and enjoy our lives. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. This is Mr. Smith. And I was going to say, one more thing I was going to say about Al Pacino. I find this fascinating that, we know the entertainment industry is Luciferian and Satanist and all that stuff. I find it interesting that Alec Baldwin said on the Tonight Show or some show like the Tonight Show, when he's being interviewed, he said he worshipped Al Pacino. And I find it interesting that Al Pacino played Lucifer in the movie The Devil's Advocate. Anyway, just something to think about. Again, this is your humble servant. Please like and subscribe, and may the Most High bless you until the next time I see you. Well, bless you all the time, but I guess what I'm trying to say is have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next one.